I got a question. How do you know if it's a real Celine?
We need to authenticate it, and it's got all the right Celine markings on it. All my experience is telling me it's a legit Celine. And let me show you something, my mechanical missus. This is the best part.
Oh, look at that.
Wow. Look how pristine this car is.
Everything's original.
When Tex Mex Motors first dropped on Netflix, it felt like a breath of fresh air. The series follows a team of skilled builders who brought rusty old cars from Mexico into El Paso and restored them for profit. But after its first season, things went quiet. There was no word on renewal and no explanation from Netflix, leaving fans to wonder if the show had been canceled. So, what really happened to Tex Mex Motors? Join us as we uncover the possible reasons behind the show's sudden silence. After the season finale of Tex Mex Motors in 2023, many fans began to wonder if the show had been canceled when Netflix went radio silent. For months, there were no updates about the show. The silence sparked rumors, with fans fearing the show had been quietly canceled. Well, it turns out there was more to the silence than fans thought. You see, between the end of Season 1 and the start of Season 2, quite a lot happened behind the scenes. But nothing was more heartbreaking than the sudden passing of Rob Pitts. Rob was known for his charismatic presence on the show, where he and co-star Marcos Carrera restored vintage cars sourced from Mexico. According to reports, he started noticing health changes in 2023. He experienced persistent acid reflux, stomach discomfort, and a noticeable drop in weight. At first, he brushed it off thinking it was stress, but things didn't get better. His symptoms worsened, and those closest to him noticed. His friend and co-star, Jaime Helm, became especially concerned and urged him to get checked. Rob finally went to the hospital in early 2024. After several tests, doctors confirmed he had stage 4 stomach cancer. The news was devastating. The cancer had already spread, and doctors made it clear that treatment options were limited. Despite the diagnosis, he chose to continue filming. He was determined to keep doing what he loved. He didn't want the illness to define his final months. During this time, he also made a deeply personal decision. He married his longtime partner, creating one last joyful memory amid the chaos. He documented much of this period, showing courage and honesty in a farewell video titled "This Is Goodbye," where he shared his story with fans and thanked them for their support. His videographer later confirmed his death in the comments of the farewell video, writing, "He will be missed, and we will never forget him." Rob's passing was felt across the community. Friends, family, and fans took to social media to share their grief. Scooter Carrera, his close friend, wrote, "Rest in peace, brother, I'm going to really miss you." Rob's death was one of the reasons fans thought the show had been canceled. Losing a key member like Rob, who also doubles as the show's lead car scout and salesman, is a big blow, so fans probably thought Netflix pulled the plug after his demise. Aside from Rob's tragic death, another reason fans thought the show was canceled had to do with the criticism it received online. No doubt, Tex Mex Motors had a promising start. The storyline felt a bit different and exciting. However, after a few episodes, some factions of fans began to question how real the show actually was. Many fans felt that parts of the show seemed too staged, especially the scenes involving deals and negotiations. One of the main things that raised eyebrows was how easily the team found rare cars. Fans pointed out that it's not always that simple to find classic cars in good condition, especially in remote areas. The show often made it seem like all it took was a phone call and a quick drive to locate hidden gems, which made some fans doubt how authentic the scouting process really was. Scooter and Rob, who were often at the center of the action, were seen as the main entertainment. In fact, the first episode felt more like a buddy comedy than a serious car restoration show. While their scenes were entertaining, fans also felt that too much time was spent on their personalities instead of the actual car work. The restoration scenes were another concern. In many episodes, repairs and upgrades appeared to happen so quickly on screen that viewers were left wondering if the work was real. Complex fixes like engine swaps or full-body repairs were barely explained, and some of the final results looked too polished for the short time shown. Comments on fan forums and review sites pointed out that the show felt overly scripted. While not everyone agreed, the overall feeling from many fans was that too much of the show seemed planned out ahead of time. So, fans likely assumed the backlash pushed Netflix to cancel the show. But was Tex Mex Motors actually canceled? You see, Netflix has a history of ending shows without making formal announcements. If a series doesn't meet certain viewership or engagement targets, it's often quietly pulled. Given that Tex Mex Motors had no updates since mid-2023, along with the behind-the-scenes incidents, fans believed the show had been canceled and began spreading the news. However, the news was false. The show wasn't canceled. In fact, Tex Mex Motors returned for its second season on Netflix on November 22, 2024. In the new season, the team operates from a larger workshop, allowing them to take on more ambitious projects. It also introduced a higher profit target, challenging the crew to take on more complex restorations. Now that the rumors have been put to rest, let's talk about how the show started. Tex Mex Motors first aired on Netflix on June 9, 2023. The show is set in El Paso, Texas, right on the border with Juarez, Mexico. The team's goal was to find old, worn-out cars in Mexico, bring them back to the US, fix them up, and sell them for profit. They set a target to make $250,000 in just 4 months. Each episode followed this journey, showing how the cars were found, restored, and sold. The idea for the show started with Marcos "Scooter" Carrera. Scooter was born in El Paso but moved to Juarez before moving back in his teenage years. After working various jobs, including forklift operator and grocery stocker, he found himself scouting classic cars. One day, he found a 1970 Camaro, bought it, and fixed it. And that was it. The car paved the way for him. Scooter began his journey to stardom as a video producer. His love for cars, mixed with his knowledge of both sides of the border, made him a perfect fit to lead a show of his own. After some years working behind the cameras, he eventually landed himself a role on the show, and the rest is history. To make the show more exciting and balanced, Scooter teamed up with Rob, an avid storyteller. On the show, Scooter handled scouting and cross-border logistics, while Rob took charge of turning the restored cars into big money. The rest of the Tex Mex Motors crew also played key roles. Mike Coy, the lead painter and shop boss, made sure each car had a flawless finish. Wesley Zachary works as the main fabricator, building and fixing important car parts. Jaime Yelm handled all engine work, making sure the cars ran smoothly. And then there is Janitzio Adame, the rookie of the shop. When Tex Mex Motors first aired, it quickly became a fan favorite. It was released in more than 120 countries and climbed to number 10 in Netflix's global rankings. In its latest season, the show climbed even higher, moving up to 6th place worldwide. This proves the show is pulling the desired numbers and isn't going anywhere soon. Speaking of numbers, the new season kicked off strong with a solid lineup of impressive restorations. The crew took on several unique projects that kept viewers glued to their screens. But among all the builds, 2 standout restorations stole the spotlight. The first was a 1966 Lincoln Continental, brought back to life with a sleek body and a bold custom dragon paint job. The design was later toned down to match the buyer's preference, and the car was reportedly sold for $90,000. Another highlight was the 1971 Corvette, which came in with serious fiberglass damage. The crew put in the work to fix it, give it performance upgrades, and turn it into a solid showstopper. In addition to this, the show featured new team members, adding a fresh vibe to the group's interactions and workflows.